good evening, everyone. And myself, Megha Gupta, the International Youth Representative of Wiki, would like to welcome you all on behalf of Blue Lips. This is an initiative started by ETRC Ahmedabad with support of Wiki Water Resource Council and in collaboration with Wednesdays of Water and our media partners Counterview. I'm joined today with Mansi, who is a national representative for president for Wiki Water Resource Council. We are glad to start this session on Blue Lips, which refers to sharing the worries and wisdom of the women in water. This is Monday Munching and Musing sessions, which we hope to learn about the presence of women in the water sector and their experiences in a regular, disciplined manner like a masterclass. Today, for today's session, we have our Wiki State Representative of Manipur, Dr. Rajkumari Sunita Devi. She works as the capacity of additional CEO for the state level nodal agency for waterland, watershed planning department Manipur for constructing water harvesting structures like farm ponds, check dams, rain harvesting systems, and many other soil moisture retaining structures. Her work also focuses on springshed management work and livelihood for economic enhancement of the rural communities. Thank you, ma'am, for having time and being here with us today. We would like to start the session by asking you a basic question about yourself of like, how do you describe yourself or how do your friends describe yourself? Thank you.
Thank you, Wiki. First of all, this is a very interesting question. I was expecting more from the water side. Anyways, I'm a very open and a very earthly person, very organic. And all my friends knows me for my positivity and support in any kind of, wars or any kind of issues or problems. I'm always there for anybody in any issue. So I'm very helpful, resourceful, and a very positive person. So I can describe myself as that.
Sorry, that is really nice to know, ma'am. I would like to know, so we would like to know actually that in terms of your work that you do, how do you describe your typical work day that goes around in water? Thank you.
So every day is a new day, or every day is a new beginning for me, because as I work, every day we come across issues and problems or new findings and new, things happening, which is quite new from what, let's say, all of a sudden we have the Amrit Sarovar thing going on. So that is quite, unique to what is happening around in Manipur, because we say we only, not just the water problem, but again, the community thing. And from the community, it will lead to something other. And again, it will lead to jhum cultivation. So even though my focus is just water, but every time a new thing will spring up that is more interesting and more, intriguing. So today itself, I can take an example, like we are talking about the watershed issue in this particular village. Then I come across that this village has another, shifting cultivation problem, which is going on, or what type of crops. Then again, it leads to climate change. So it is every day is a very interesting thing for me. And it's not just water, like all the related issues and problems. And again, somebody will come up with a nice plan, like this can be done about this particular area. So it's really interesting for me every day, a new learning and a new teaching, that both way. So even though we take ourselves as an administrator or a, resource person, but at the same time, we learn about many traditional method of, conservation of water, or how a particular village take care of the water issue in their own rural settings. So those kind of thing all springs up, and each day is a new day.
Yeah, that sounds very exciting and a lot of hard work actually. But I would like to actually know of when did you start as a kid? Were you always eager about these water issues? Were you aware of it? Or when did your interest in water sector actually become more clear and concrete to you?
First, I can say that my first love was remote sensing and GIS. So even though I environmental thing was, from Manipur, I was the first student to study environmental science in Jiwaji University. So that time itself, it was a very new subject, a very new topic, and everybody was so apprehensive even in my family, like why did you choose of all the not engineering or not medical, but I was quite good at my studies, but why do you opt for such a new, like, which doesn't have any job prospect? So it was a very long-term planning that I had in my mind. I was the first girl from the state to, go for this subject, and many did join my this one after hearing from me. So at that time, environmental issues were my first love. Then again, once after my completion of my master's degrees, I was really into this remote sensing and GIS, because that was how we can monitor certain things. But at that time, it wasn't very, like high-end things were not there. So some of my mentor from ISRO, they were the one who guided me to do this work. But then my focus became on wetlands. I was the first to do the wetland mapping of Manipur. Then this Loktak Resource Information System. I was the principal investigator, which was a project by ISRO Ahmedabad, SEC. So then that was after the technology. Then came my love for wetlands. Then my visit to the Loktak wetlands, that was really as if the lake was calling me. I could hear my the thing calling me. I was going to all the inlet inside the water, then by a boat, very simple boat, what my director and myself. So I could feel that even the lake is calling me and do something about me. So that was how I started writing papers on the Loktak wetland. And I started, like studying the whole of the Loktak, its vegetation, then pre-monsoon, post-monsoon, all kind of studies, everything. I did a documentary on the Loktak. Then I even made a short films. Then because of that, I won the MAP Asia Award, which eventually led to my Fulbright scholarship in US. That was also for wetlands. And so that was how my love for water developed. It wasn't, like first it was environmental, then it was technology, remote sensing GIS, then wetlands, then water. Then water means during my, exposure in the World Bank, I came across many problems, the whole world facing, like water scarcity. And so that really struck me and made me think like, this is the main thing, water is the main thing, is where life exists, And that time itself, we started talking like the third world war will be for water, not for anything. So that was how it led me to then, and being a woman, and very less people working in this area. So once for a World Bank, I was working for a rural project, not for my own department, for the PMGSY. Then they themselves told me like, how come a woman from you like entering into such a tough technical thing, and again doing such a like great job and all. So that was how eventually it just grows, and now I'm fully into it. Watershed management, that is the only way how we can bring about water scarcity, to help fight water scarcity in the state. And very interestingly, or very the recently, just 2 days back, the chief minister has a colon. He called me and talked to me about in what ways I was helping the state. And so he told me like, very good, like there's a thumbs up. So I'm very hopeful now that he is fully aware of my work and how we can, go ahead with the things in the rural areas. So I'm very hopeful now.
Yes, indeed. Actually, the things have much improved in the last few years for women, and they are getting recognition, which is a great thing to know.
Yeah.
But and like you mentioned, that when you started, there were a lot of difficulties that you faced. You were the first person to try a lot of new things and get into a new sectors. I'm sure our national president Mansi ma'am has also experienced something similar, and I would like her to continue the conversation with her about your professional experiences. Thank you.
Thanks, Megha. Thanks, Rajkumari. Good to hear. We share Fulbright, we share water, we share a lot of other things, and also we share Wiki here. I will take the conversation further, as you rightly mentioned, that when you were there on the ground, you really had this a situation where you were looked with a surprise that how come a woman is here in the technical, sector. Because this whole conversation is more about your journey as a woman. I will bring your focus again to understand how have you been balancing this tough technical way of working on watershed management and all. And at the same time, I know you are also writing and you are also doing civic engagements. And you, of course, you are also running your own family. So how do you really see the role of women these days, where they can not only handle complex situations, but then how do they, do everything together? I mean, as a personal experience, would you like to share that? Where is the balance?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Like, it's like, walking a tightrope, like a balancing act, like the circus, because my day starts from, 5:30 in the morning, sending my kids to school and tiffins. And right now, like by 9, we have to be in office because the biometrics starts. So being the head of the office, I have to be there by 9 so that the staff will follow. So, but once I reach office, I put on my, computer, and first thing is my GIS is on. So that will, so during my working hour, my full time is dedicated. Whatever time I get, I need to, complete a deadline, write a report, or anything which is assigned to me every day. Even right now, so many things comes up, but priority wise, I focus my work. What will be the number one priority? Then at the same time, I made sure that my family is not lagging behind, because for me, family is very, very important. My 2 kids, my husband, but I have to, my balance is always for my kids. The youngest, my daughter, who is just 9 years old, and my son. So first thing, and whatever time I get in between, that's how I make a call to her and ask her how she's doing, if she is at home, or even like my lunch hour from 1 to 2 p.m. That's when I rush to her school and do attend any meeting or get her from school. So every day I can't do that, but whatever time I can get, I try to use that, to focus to my children. But as you said, it's a walking a tightrope, because
you
like
a good
even
example.
now,
You gave a good example.
yeah.
Taking that further, I would also like to understand, now since you are already an established name in the field and you are accepted, as okay, you are working there and you are here. What kind of experiences, maybe you in the past and current new entrants women in the water, they really find when they are working in a situation where there are more men working around in the water? And what would you suggest, that what kind of strength that you developed in your time, which they can also develop to really not to counter or to fight the situation, but then to create a situation where there is more acceptance of women leadership in the water?
Yeah, first of all, I would say that being a woman, it's a really, proud thing for myself. I really like being a woman, and, the endurance we have, because we have more patience as compared to male counterpart, or we have more endurance. Just like you say, like I gave birth to my 2 kids, bearing them 9 months, and my labor pain. So if I can endure those kind of pain, then, working at any level of difficulties. But yeah, I can say that it's not just a smooth sailing thing, because like, let's say there's a meeting for the government or in the cabinet, wherein it might take long, up to 10 to 11 p.m. So those kind of situation, that only that time I feel like my being a woman, being a little having limitation. But it is in us to use what we can, like even fight back, or have have patience for something to, really develop, to grow. And it's just like every work or every project is just like a baby. We give birth and make it grow. So just like we nurture our family, it's the same thing. I nurture the project. So what is the first priority it needs? What is the second step we have to go about? Then how to, put a smile on our face, do some makeup. But even though I'm feeling very tired or very irritated inside, but we need to keep a very positive vibe around us, so that people won't point a finger to us like this. Being a woman, you have those limitations that you can't go to the field or those kind of thing. I really make sure that I'm as good as any male or other counterparts working in the same field. But again, I can say that not many, there is not even many male who are working in the field as I am now. So there's my, like I can probably say that, because when in my state, in my small state, when anybody asks about me, then they will know that, oh, that wetland girl or wetland lady, or now the water woman. So that's how they know me. So in that way, I'm really, in a good position. So what at the civil level.
Go ahead.
So I'm quite comfortable in people are really reckoning my work, and if I'm there, they think twice. They think twice for, I'm also a member of the technical committee of wetland. So we always, whenever there is a project or a impact assessment for any wetlands, they think twice if I'm there, not just go ahead. Since Sunita is there, better be careful. That's how they take me. So that way, I think
that's good to know. That's good to know. You become a check.
That is really there. That is really there. Yeah. Checkpoint. Yeah, I'm always
that brings me to an interesting question to ask here. I mean, do you think it's this stage where there is a recognition, and not only in terms of what you're doing, but also that you should be there for making some important decisions? And I'm talking in terms of being promoted, and what kind of abilities do you think women should really bring in themselves to be not only going along, but also to reach the ladder of leadership,
Yeah.
And you can,
in that way,
from your experience.
Yeah. So in that way, like there are less people in the policy making for women. Even let's say in the legislature or like in MLA or MPs, we have less people who are women and who have technical knowledge. So both things it's required, because it's really very technical when we talk about the hydrology or when we talk about even wetland management or watershed management. It's many technical things are involved. And so being, like women to women, other problems people understand, even in the social welfare department or a family plan, those kind of things they understand. But being a technical thing, because it comes in many times, I go to, like MLAs or who are women, thinking that since I'm a woman, they might, understand the situation, even in fund release or any other activities. But being a little technical one, it is my, only limitation, where I can't burst in and, just say it. But very slowly, it takes time. It can't happen in a day or two, unlike other problem, wherein if it is a right now social welfare department, gender issue or any other POSCO or those kind of thing, very quickly they grab. There are policies which will act very fast. But again, coming to the water issues and being less people in the technical side, and I need to go to the chief secretary or chief minister and talk to them about how it is. So those kind of limitation is always there. So in that way, I think we need more technical people in the policy making, or even in the legislature level, like more MLAs or like quota for, and even in the elected members for the Jila Parishad or any other, those kind of thing. So we require more women who are really fit for the agenda. So that way, some limitation I always face in the policy making side. Yeah.
Yes. That's a very good point which you made, because you are already talking about intersection of where women are not only having the know-how of policy and technical part, but you are also talking about taking leadership position, which is what we are trying to really talk about here. So that already gives a little bit of answer of what I'm looking for the next question is, and we are all working towards it to build more women leadership in the water sector. What do you think was lacking in the past, that we had very few women leaders in the water sector, or is that they were there but not recognized enough? And what can we do, like we are doing this whole initiative of water leaders now? What do you think that women leadership is lacking in the water sector, even in the mainstream policies, politics also, as you rightly mentioned? So we are already talking about three things, you know. So policy field, politics itself requires a lot of women leaders, and then we're talking about a very technical scientific person who knows the water matters, you know. And we're talking about a convergence here, and then the leadership coming out of it, you know.
So for coming to that point, I can say our culture. So culturally, the women, I think maybe India or Manipur, we are placed in such a way that women are for families and for taking care of the, you know, the daily things. So that I cannot say that even though the women in Manipur are very liberal, we have the imam market, those kind of thing, but policy or decision making, for the decision making part, women are lagging behind because of, you know, if there is any family, let's say there's a very important meeting for the water issue happening, and there's a very important issue in the family, it will be the woman who will first, you know, enter to the family part. So that way, even many of my colleagues and my college friends and all who were, you know, like master's degree, PhD in wetlands and all, but still I could not see much of them going out or, you know, going more broad, because it's always family for them. So I think our culture is very much not to be blamed, but it's part of how women are used to be or have to be, the way they predicted women. So even when during my stay in the US, there was a cultural shock, because out here we feel that women, we have to take care of our, you know, like our own ijat type, what to say, our exact word, but there is no man, woman, that kind of thing outside of the Indian peninsula. So at that time, I can say it's a cultural shock. So right now, when we say like why women are lagging behind, first thing will be the cultural thing, which bind us to the family first before anything. Even many of my medical who are in the medical practices, my friend circles, I don't see many of them in the clinical. So most of them, they opted to be in the teaching side and go back to the family. So courage, we can't say that we lack in courage, but due to our culture or how we are being brought up, so it is really difficult to come out of the thing. So I myself have to take, you know, a big risk, or I was a rebel from my childhood itself. So that made me do things which just anybody can't, you know, like I will go for a rock concert or write a, you know, like that's how rebellious I was. So being the rebel in me make me work and do certain things which nobody just think about. So that way, so first thing, I think the culture is somewhat to be, you know, blame or whatever. If that suffice what you asked, Mansi.
Yes. I see a good side of it in men choosing family first over anything else. That's my perception of it. And I wish men were also doing it. The world would have been a better place. So that's where I see the positive side of women really taking what is most important. Most important is family health, you know, happiness. Everybody's eating well.
Happiness.
And yes, and to achieve all those things, economy and development is always not the first thing which can offer that. So I do see that women, if they continue doing their major role, is no problem to really bring in the leadership capabilities in them. We need to really have more answers when we are going to talk with more women in the due course of time, that we find out what are the key aspects or determinants which are required. What is also interesting to learn from the conversation which you gave us today is one thing is that as a person, as an individual, whether a man or a woman, one has to be self-driven also to do something you are convinced about, you know.
Yes.
And then there
That's
are then there are the societal structures. Of course, most of the water problem is a patriarchal problem. That is also a set theory now. So this is also a reason why women have to also make extra, extra effort to go out and have the voice so that the problem can be heard and addressed. Because if the problem
very
is
true.
not heard, and then it can never be addressed. Because like in water, we also say, unless and until the water is flowing, water can never be pure. It's not the other way around. Similarly, unless the voice is heard, it will never be, because if it is not heard, there is no problem. Everything is all right.
Exactly.
And that is
Exactly.
that as an individual, you clearly show that. And I think this is an important characteristic which a woman leader requires when they want to endeavor into any field. And we are talking about water, but it is applicable to all kinds of fields. I think, close my interaction with you and take it further with Megha and find out what are the new plans and everything which you are going about. And how do we see Northeast getting more represented in the women's sector, and especially in the water sector? Although we have to accept as a country that Northeast has much better matriarchal society than rest of the country. Having said that, we are, that we are struggling to find women for water leaders from the Northeast, So future plan, over to you, Megha, and I would request you to frame the question better, but I just set the tone for the concluding part. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mansi ma'am, and thank you, Sunita ma'am, for actually sharing your experiences. One thing that I came across like from your conversation was that you said that you had to always show courage and you had to take that risk and step forward to do what you wanted to achieve. I would actually like to know that in terms of like your personal life, did you actually face any were there any restrictions or were there any difficulties that you had to convince your family members to actually do what you wanted to do actually?
Okay. I would like I would contribute my success. I mean, at least 80% to my father-in-law. Like he has expired. He is no more with us, but he was the person like who really helped me and make me decide. And like the first decision, I would ask him if there's some travel thing I have to do, then can I do this? Then he will say, go ahead, just do it. It is never my husband whom I ask, but it is always my father-in-law who have really encouraged me, because I lost my dad during my college time. So he was a father figure. I like compared to my other friends, I married at 27, which is considered very, very early age in Manipur. But that's how like everything I'll share with my father-in-law, then I'll ask his permission. Then he was always the one to say, go ahead. So he never stopped me from any of my field work, then working day and night, then going to office, then coming back late, then going to field trips. So he will always smile and say, now tell me, what did you do today? Then tell me what happened to you today. Then whenever I'll go for a TV talk or for a radio talk, it was always him who will first, watch the show or listen to the radio talk and appreciate me and, and then be happy for my achievement. So during when I received my Fulbright, the fellowship, the Humphrey Award, so I was really, like whether anybody will allow me. I have a son, I have a family, then how can I just, because mine is a Brahmin family, the Sharma. So it is considered quite, like very conservative. We have our own temple, take care of the, all the daily chores and all. So I was happy, but at the same time, how to break the news that I received this fellowship. So the first thing is I tell him like, I have won this fellowship. This is quite prestigious. Then he was so happy, so proud of me. Then it was him who gave me the, like, just go ahead and do it and never stop in what you are doing, because you are doing a great job. So it was him who encouraged me, and my success to my family, my father-in-law, and again to my husband, who has already He have never acted like any other husband and never stopped me and always take care of my kids when I have to. Traveling was really, really, like optimum, even inside Manipur, outside the state, then abroad, and also he was really helpful. So that way I'm quite lucky, very lucky indeed that I wasn't, married to any other family, but this family. So that's how my strength lies in.
It's
Yeah.
actually very encouraging to have such people in the family itself. And I'm very sure that when he was present in your life, he was a role model and much encouraging you for every step. That's really nice to actually know about. So I would actually like to just ask you about the future plans and like any advice that you could give to the young women entering in this profession of how can they take ahead their career in water sector. Thank you.
My my message or my request or my advice would be, like, if you're working on something, first get authentic data. So water is not something you can play around with, because you will come across many many people or many situations in which it can be twisted and used in other way, either for to get more funds or in the negative way. So first, as a student, like, be true to yourself, be true to what you want. So let's say, like, and be passionate about, have a passion about what you want. Like water, for water, we really, like I said, when I go to the Loktak Lake, I feel as if it's calling me, do something about me, save me. So those kind of connection I could feel. So with that passion, I work. So, and again, next thing is get your data right, not just work on any other, like get it right. Or if you don't have it, you try to get it by any means, but work with good data, authentic data, and don't fool around with and one thing is, I hate plagiarism. Plagiarism is a no for me. Like, so don't never forget to give anything, like your acknowledgement, even for one word, or like whatever acknowledgement is really required. Then, because even the wetlands we work today, we have other professor or scientists who have worked previously in the same field. So it's like our, the Gurukul thing, where first we, give our notes, prayer to the Guru type. So because the generation X or generation G, now we said, they're growing so fast, and that kind of thing we I don't see with them, the new generation. So this is always, one thing followed by other. So work on good data, get good paper, get your paper ready, then write. You really need to write papers, paid paper, or in the local newspaper or anything, but don't stop writing. You really need to write. Writing in documentation is really a very integral part of the work, and those will be the archive, the legacy. Your work will be the legacy for the future. So it is really important that those are, lying across as a source for the future. So it's not my work, it will be a source for the future. So that's how things would get done. Even in this Loktak resource information system, it is the first information system where you have the first set of data for the Loktak Lake. So that will form a base for any kind of studies in the future. So because two kind of study we always require, before and after. So you will be the before for the after for the future. Okay. So that's my request or my advice.
Yeah, that's actually a very good advice, to actually take up more research work and document your effort that you're putting, because a lot of times we see in the society, or people actually just put more emphasis, or they give more recognition to on-site work, but people who are actually sitting in the offices and working on research and on the data work, they're not given as much as importance as people are given on-site. So that's a very encouraging, I would say, takeaway from the entire session for the future people, I would say. So I would like to actually conclude this session by thanking you and for sharing your insights and letting us know the amazing work that you've done in the water sector. We also like to thank all our audiences today for taking some time out and being present with us today. We like to announce that we will be going on with such sessions on every Monday and having candid conversations with more women who are working in the water sector. So for next Monday, we do have Ms. Ekta Gupta the same time at 5 p.m. So please follow our social media platforms for more updates, and thank you all for the session today. That's it.
Thank you so much, Megha. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Masi.
you.
Yeah, it's
Mansi.
really